Alright, welcome back to the Superlite Coupe build. In this video, I'm not exactly sure what we're going to cover, but stay tuned. Okay, well, in this video, we're going to cover a number of items. So in the last video, we put the body on the car, we got the tub in the car, we just sort of played around with the body and the suspension, and we pretty much have the wheels lined up in the wheel wells. So, you know, that left rear, the left rears look great. The front wheels are about 2/10 of an inch too forward. And I will do an adjustment at some point of the lower control arms, the front fork, and just sort of pivot those front wheels back a little bit, and that'll be mission accomplished on where the body sits. And the reason for needing to understand where the body fits is, you know, there's just so little room for error here. And, you know, the way this car is designed is you have this fiberglass tub, and the tub has some indentations, and it sort of wants to place. And we even got the sort of the back panel in now just for kicks. But it sort of dictates where the body goes, but it turns out that tub can move forward probably plus or minus 3/4 of an inch, and side to side probably about 1/2 an inch. Okay, and that actually caused some issues with regard to the seat fitment, but we'll discuss that at a later time. So anyway, here's the game plan. The game plan is, you know, I completed everything in the front compartment. Then I was pretty much done with the passenger compartment, with the exception of mounting the seats and the pedals. And I really wanted to get this body centered on the car and get it positioned fore and aft. So a couple things to point out here. You know, I was really concerned that these seats would go too far back and they would hit the rear bulkhead, but it turns out this seat is as far back as it can go, and I've got about 1.5 inches worth of room. So, you know, I was sort of worried for nothing, but, you know, the bottom line is that tub can move forward and backward, so you have to know where it's going to be. Otherwise, you mount the seats and then it interferes with the tub from behind. But anyway, we want to mount the seats, so we're going to position the seats. Turned out I did some work on the steering column. It's hard to see, but the area where the key would go in, I had it trimmed so the dashboard would be centered in the windshield area, which it is. And it turned out the angle of the steering column, about 1.5 degrees, is really perfect. So I'm going to line up the driver's seat at 1.5 degrees, the pedals at 1.5 degrees, and I'll attach all this stuff to the car. Okay, and then the other thing we're going to do is underneath the clam, now that we know where the body's going to sit, you know, we've got these side scoops, and the intercooler mounting brackets have to be positioned properly between the scoop, and also there's a fender well. So once again, you know, not a lot of room for error when you're building an SLC. It's like every 1/4 inch means something. So anyway, that's what we're up to. The first thing we're going to do is, you know, I've got to trim these side impact bars. It's a little hard to see, it's black on black here, but the seat sort of interferes with this edge here. So we're going to slice this off, and that'll allow us to position the seats where they really need to go. Okay, so stay tuned. All right, so we've got a little work in process here. I started the installation of the intercoolers on the frames. And you can see I've drilled some pilot holes. Always drill small pilot holes, and these holes are through to the top of the frame. And I just, you know, I probably measured this 20 times, and I wanted to make sure if the body had to shift left to right or back and forth, that it would not interfere with anything. And also, you know, over here, well, the glare is pretty bad. All right, here we go. So anyway, these are wheel wells, and they need to be fitted and trimmed, or trimmed and fitted. but I made sure that I had enough room in the arch of the wheel well, just in case if the body had to go forward a quarter or so inches, it would still clear the fan that sticks out the back of the shroud. Okay, so I'm going to finish these up and then we'll take a look. Okay, we're just about done drilling all the holes. I just want to point this out. Once again, I'm using this guide, this inch thick block of aluminum. I have a 6mm hole, and I drill the top holes, and then I use this guide to make sure that drill bit goes straight through the frame, because it's really easy to drill off on an angle, and then the bolts won't drop through the frame. All right, well, there they are. We've got the brackets installed. Taking a little extra care to drill those holes straight and perpendicular really help. Let's see, I've got about a 1/2 inch clearance on each side and a little over 1/4 of an inch clearance behind the fans. So all in all, they look great. Let's see, a couple other comments. That center screw is actually just there for looks. That just screws into the top of the plate. I like the way it looked with 3 screws. And then also I will make a sister bracket on the bottom at some point before we put the car, just get the car ready for go-kart. But anyway, time to move back into the passenger compartment, and I'll fill you in on what's going on with the seats. All right, so this will be the last segment of the video. And let's see, it's sort of hard to show you all the details, just it's black on black on black, but I've made an executive decision that I'm not going to go forward with these seats. I've invested at least 100 hours modifying these seats to get them at the right angle, to get them to sit, between the center console and the side impact bars. And I had it set up so that, this is the gentleman's seat. It's a little wider than a standard seat. And I have this angled, and you can see the steering wheel there. It just works out perfectly, 1.5 degree angle. And then it sort of butts up against the center console, and that bracket is pretty sizable. That holds the shifter, and that plate will be down a few inches, but I had enough room for the center console. If I shifted the passenger seat all the way over to butt up against the base of the side impact bar. And one thing I did not take into account, because I took that side impact bar off early on in the build, is that the side impact bar is actually on an angle and angles in behind the seat, not to the side of the seat. So now we've got a solid steel tube right behind the seat, and that is definitely not safe. You get hit in the back, the seat's going to want to expand backwards or flex backwards, and you don't want a metal rod in your back for sure. So, if I move it in to get it away from the bar, it really interferes with the shifter. And then I figured, well, let me just move it back, but tilt it the same angle as the driver's seat. And the problem is, if I do that, the passenger's feet just sort of go into the side of the car, which isn't very deep. So all in all, it's just not the quality of fitment that I'm looking for. And I invested so much time. I mean, those mounting points are super strong. I literally was like jumping on the seat to make sure that, the mounting points were strong and the look was pretty good. And I was looking forward to designing leather covers for it. But I think I'm going to cut my losses. On a bright side, I gained some good fiberglassing skills and clay skills. And I'll probably turn these into gamer seats, or if I do build another car, maybe I'll use that in a car with a little bigger cockpit. But anyway, I've got some new seats on order, and I'll do a proper walkthrough of those seats in an upcoming video. All right, so anyway, we sort of end the episode on a somber note here, but you know, that's part of building a kit car, and I just got to change directions. Okay, well anyway, thanks for watching and take care.